What I would like you to take away from reading Memoir as Medicine is that you have a story to tell. Everyone has a story to tell, that your story is worthy. But that whether it's going to be published, or you're doing it for your own self, or you're doing it for your grandkids, or you're just writing because it's the creative thing you've been dying to do, Memoir as Medicine isn't really about anything. It's a guide. I talk a lot about the healing power of getting your story out of your body, out of your liver, out of your kidneys, out of your heart, and getting the rage on the page and just letting this stuff flow. I used to start my workshop for years with the following. We're alchemists. We turn, I was going to say a bad word, we turn doo-doo into gold. We take the traumas, the tiny murders that happen to us, and we can transform them. We can dance them, we can sculpt them, we can watercolor them. In here, we're going to write them. So for years, that's how I started the workshop. And then my son Dan died a long time ago, otherwise I'd be crying. But I do have a tissue just in case. And I didn't really grieve. I went on a drumming workshop, and I kind of woke up the next morning with a really bad backache. I had a backache for 3 weeks lying on the floor. I did chiro, I did acupuncture, I took Advil, I read a book on anger in the back, and I just could not heal. And I'm lying there one day and I'm going, we're alchemists, we turn doo-doo into gold. But the most important part of the equation is you have to feel it. You cannot skip the sorrow. And I was skipping the sorrow. So I started sobbing, and I was wailing, and I was pounding on the ground, and honestly, the next day, my backache was gone. So a lot of the book is an invitation for you to trace the emotional dots, what happened to you, write that story, and feel your broken heart. You get to write it out of your body. It's not marinating in there. It's not in your liver anymore. It's not in your kidneys. It's on the page. So it's a gold embossed invitation for you to get the story out of your body. Of course, there's a spiritual and a psychological component to writing your story. You have to go back and trace the emotional dots and find out what happened to you, what shaped you. And that's going to be psychologically devastating and ultimately healing. Spiritually, I think you have a choice once you've written these stories and you see who you have become. If you're still stuck, if there are places where the wound is still so great, and you want to become a larger person, and you want your heart to expand, and you want to be a better being, that's the spiritual component. And of course you'll want that. But first, the healing. Chronology is not important because we have a million beginnings. So there's a beginning after the divorce. There's the beginning after you had the kid. There's a beginning after you left for San Diego. There's a beginning when you lost 40 pounds. Many, many beginnings. Some catalyst, some event that got you going. So I don't think you have to start with I was 9 years old and I was born in Teaneck, New Jersey. Don't worry about that. Sit the bleep down, sit the bleep down, sit the bleep down. I know, because I'm not a procrastinator generally, but if I'm vacuuming, I'm not writing. And my friend Jude, who makes gorgeous, gorgeous jewelry, she'll say, crazy glue your butt to the chair. So you want to write, crazy glue your butt to the chair. What I would like you to take away from reading Memoir as Medicine is that you have a story to tell. Everyone has a story to tell, that your story is worthy. But that whether it's going to be published, or you're doing it for your own self, or you're doing it for your grandkids, or you're just writing because it's the creative thing you've been dying to do, there will be a healing. Because there is a healing when you go deep, when you go under the layers. There are so many insights that you will get from writing. For an example, when I wrote my memoir, all I was writing about was how horrible it was to go through this terrible experience with my kid who was sick for 16 years. When I sat down and actually started writing, I remembered, and I would not have remembered this, that I stood at the foot of his bed one day and I said, or night, "Good night, O King of Kings," and I bowed. I said, "Good night, O Lord of Lords," and I bowed. And he said, "Good night, O Fruit of Loops." I wouldn't have remembered that. I would not have remembered that. And the other thing I wouldn't have remembered was he screamed for years, 16 years, "Why me? Why me? Why me?" Well, as a mother, do you think I had an answer? Why him? What could I say to him? Why him? He was sick as a dog. He had MS on top of diabetes. I walked into his room one day and I said, "Okay, I got one for you," because he had stopped screaming, "Why me," by the way, for about a year. I said, "You can't walk. You can't use a fork because your hands tremor. You've got 3 bed sores that aren't healing. Your girlfriend broke up with you. Now you've got swallowing issues. You're basically a very sick person. Dan, I just want to know, why you?" And he looked at me, and his timing was always perfect, and he said, "Why not me?" Now, until I wrote my memoir, I didn't get the power of what he had actually said. He had evolved into a spiritual being. Why not me? Absolutely right. What, you're somebody special? You're not supposed to get sick? If we live that way, if we know that whatever happens to us is our teaching, that's, you still have suffering, but you accept because you know that it's about your evolution. So that's why you should read memoir as medicine. That's what I want you to take away.